Hey, hey! How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Westeros. We are here to pick up the Sea of Spears campaign, playing Green Ronin's Song of Ice and Fire RPG, and you, lucky viewers, are here for our very second session. You were hopefully able to take part last month as we kicked it off with a couple session zeros. Hopefully you were also here 2 weeks ago as we launched with our first in-character roleplay heavy session. And here you are today as we pick up where we left off. More or less, we've got to do a little bit of dabbling. Before we do all that, though, let us introduce our players. I'm going to have to take it off with my lovely wife, Felicia, who on the screen is sitting to my right, and who is going first for a reason. What reason is that, Felicia? Who's your character?
My character is Nymaryen, and I am the heir to the House Nymaryen in Torn. And below me is my twin sister.
That's right, I'm Erica, and my character is Bela Nymaryen. I am twin sister to Lady Rhaena, and I'm a little bit more martially gifted of the two, while my sister is a little bit better at the diplomacy game. But then after me comes
Luke.
I'm Robert. I'm playing Lucaris, the oldest son. Normally I'd be the heir, but, we believe in equality down here in Dorne, unfortunately. So, I'm the eldest son shipped off to King's Landing. Hopefully I'll be joining the group today.
Okay.
And after Lucaris, there we go.
I'm Ash. I play the youngest Adam Nymaryen.
That's all we got for Adam. All right, he's all right.
Okay. I wasn't
He's still grown. And who is next in line after young Adam?
I think I'm the only one left, the only one who doesn't have Nymaryen blood. Vannon Rivers, bastard of the Blackwoods, and just got knighted and really looking forward to kicking some ass in King's Landing.
That's right.
Hooray!
That's the spirit.
And then we've got one more player to talk about, and that is you, dear viewer. Everybody here in chat, you get to join in live and mess with the game, mess with plans, help players succeed, help NPCs die, help NPCs succeed, help players die. It is Westeros, so there is just no showing. So, if you take a look up in the top left corner, you see a little meter there for our stream boss, and that attempts to claim the Iron Throne. Every time you contribute to the stream with cheers and subscriptions and all that good stuff, you kill some of the King's Knights. It says HP, that normally means hit points, but on this game it means horsepower, because you're killing Knights. So you want to kill off all the King's Knights and seize the Iron Throne. Every time the Iron Throne is seized, the person that beat the stream boss gets to give a destiny point to any player, or rather, I should say, any character they choose. It can be one of our 5 PCs, or it can be some NPC that you like. Whoever sits the Iron Throne at the end of a stream has claimed King's Landing and declared themselves to be the king or queen of the Andals, the first man into the Royne, protector of the realm, etc., etc., etc. And by having the throne at the end of a session, you are then able to grant a royal boon to one whole noble house of your choosing. Last session, we had Crimson Dude win, and so I chatted with him in the meantime, and we are going to pick up with a flashback scene that is going to show that boon being given to the house that he chose. So, we, in this kind of episodic pretending that we are on Game of Thrones thing, We just had the title credits roll, and we're all ba 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 ba, right? All that good stuff. And then we are going to zip back to before you guys left Wyvern's Rest, and young Adam Nymaryen is going to be standing in front of grandfather Lord Makar's desk in his solar alone, while everyone else was preparing to travel. And before he saw you all off in the yard, your dignified, aging Christopher Plummer-looking grandfather invited his youngest grandson up to the solar for a moment. And he, as you enter, he gestures almost immediately for you to sit, whether out of normal courtesy or because he's as acutely aware of your twisted leg as you are not certain.
Well, I'll sit down right away and sort of wait anxiously to be spoken to.
He gives you a long look, and like most of his long looks, his eyes are still clear, his eyes are still alert. But the longer he looks at any of his grandchildren, the sadder he seems to get. And you don't know if it's because you remind him of his own children that have passed away, if he is upset about the hard times the house has fallen on, comparatively speaking, since Robert's Rebellion, or it could just be that leg of yours again, which is on your mind, even if not his. But eventually he breaks the silence. He says, Adam, my boy, I am sorry that you must travel again so soon after your arrival, but, and he waves the letter that a raven brought just the day before, when kings call, lords must answer.
I understand, Grandfather.
We've seen to it that Willem's boy will be driving that wagon. You shouldn't have to ride a horse. We weren't able to adjust the stirrups and the like yet, but you'll be all right on the road, I think. You make sure that lad does a good job. He's serving as squire to the lot of you. Help him if you can, though. You're still technically a squire, I suppose. But more than that, I have a special job for you, lad. You are the youngest, but still, I think, the sharpest. And he leans over his desk and lifts up some, like a leather satchel, like you carry documents in, kind of a messenger bag type of thing, oiled leather that folds over and is kind of weatherproof. And he sets that on the desk and says, you give these to your brother upon your arrival. Letters and sundries, messages for other people in the city. Things, words, too heavy for ravens, I think. But also, my boy, also, it's not all bad. Take these. And he starts to put little stacks of coins on the desk in front of you, along with a very fancy velvet bag that is not mine, so it's not covered with the X-Men, like my cool dice bag. But, a little coin pouch, but it's a fancy one in the deep wine red of House Nymaryen, with like gold braid and all kinds of... It's got the house sigil on the side and like silver thread. And he has a stack of 5 coins that are gold. These are gold dragons, not just silver stags here. And he goes, these are for the lot of you on the road and what expenses come up in the capital. I'll not have the gossip mongers and usurpers landing say that Nymaryens are paupers. That's 1 stack of 5. Make sure you're writing these down. And then he has a stack that looks about double that. And we've got 10 gold crowns. He says, give these to your sister, Rhaena. She may need a new gown, or perhaps she can find a horse to replace hers that fell so recently. And then he adds another stack of 10. He goes, these are for Bela. she will likely want to wager them. The rest of you should also have fun. Bring home coin and glory. And then he has a stack of 8. Looks just a little bit thinner of a stack. He goes, these are for Luke. Hopefully not only to absorb what debts he has accrued since being knighted, but he can also wager what he does not drink or invest in affections. And then there's another stack of 8. He goes, these are for you, lad. You too deserve to have some fun. You're out of the frozen north, and the capital has much and more to offer a bright lad of good breeding. I know you cannot ride in the tilt any longer, but the other children can. Show them that you believe in them. Show the world how quick you are. Bet that well. I'm sure you'll be bringing it all back to me. And then he has a stack of 4. He goes, these are payment for Sir Vannon Rivers. He is our sworn sword now, and we'll pretend that it's late pay that is overdue. Try to get him to have some fun also. He has his spurs now. He needs must act like it. And then you get one last stack, 10 coins thick. It's 5 silver and 5 copper. He goes, he's a for Will's boy. He's squiring for you, but he'll need new clothes, and 7 know he needs eat like an ox. That's the size of him. Don't let him go hungry while you're away. Sir Willem is loud enough as it is. I'll let him claim no grievance against our house. I'll let him claim no grievance. See to it that the boy is cared for, and given that change, that House Nymaryen not be ashamed by his dress. There. And he just scoops it all up into the sack, and he leans across the table and holds it out to you.
I'll take it from him and say, I'll do all I can to make you proud, grandfather.
Oh, sweet boy. You've already done that and more. Just stay the course. Better days are coming, you'll see. Better days are coming. You take that coin. You're in charge of it during the journey. But you and the other children, you try to have fun. Try to have fun. And stay safe. I'm sure you'll be fine. And then we're going to cut from there as that coin purse jingle jangles in Adam's kind of uneven pace down the hallway and kind of wincingly down the stairs from Lord Makar's Solar. In universe, our camera will pan away from that clinking coin purse to one that is much less full, and that is the coin purse of Sir Lucerys Nymaryen, who is currently bribing a gate guard in the city of King's Landing. You are talking with a couple of gold cloaks that are manning the gates to the south in particular, and preparing for the arrival of your siblings. You spent most of the morning, drunk / hungover and in bed atop a pile of pillows in the Street of Silks. But then
they don't know that, though.
Yes, you haven't told them yet. But you spent some of the morning talking to the gold cloaks that you know to track down who was going to be on duty at the gate so that you could make sure to grease the wheels before your families arrive. So that is taken care of. You have paid the gate fee in advance, and you're kind of looking ruefully down at your coin purse as you tie it back to your belt, because now you've got to go secure grounds for them on the tourney fields, because anybody that's going to be jousting is expected to put up a tent or two, the big fancy pavilion tents that fly the colors So you've got 2 jobs left. You had 1 job done. You're going to get them into the city. But now you've got to get spot for the tourney grounds, and you've got to secure them a place to stay. So, you've got a walk with a much less fat coin purse than your unknowing little brother, who is currently laden with a king's ransom. So who do you think you're going to talk to try and get a spot on the tourney field? Name a name.
Well, as I grumble under my breath, 7 hells, I can get everything around here. I'm looking for whoever's running the turning field.
Okay, there is the Master of Lists, who is basically a scribe, some second or third son. Not like you, you're first son, which doesn't really count, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that.
Some little lordling that's overseeing the books. And their desk would probably be the place to start. So you're able to find it pretty easily, because it's its job to be easy to find. But you do have a bit of a line between you and the front. It's mostly squires and pages that are here to enter their lord knights into the list.
Okay, what do I know about the guy who's a lord of the list? Do I know anything about?
It's being overseen by a Florent, House Florent, with foxes and stuff as their sigils. They're not terribly far away. They're not a terribly prominent house, but they're noble enough to be trusted with overseeing the books for this sort of thing. And you can actually see, it's not Sir Imry Florent. He's actually a knight that's likely to tilt. But it's a younger brother of his, or perhaps a cousin. He is doing absolutely fuck all up there at the desk. He's got a couple squires and one very ragged-looking maester. None of them are in like martial clothes. He's making a big deal of wearing that that padded doublet in the house colors with his sword on his hip and all that. They are not. They're all looking ragged and haggard and writing as quickly as they can and that sort of thing.
You mentioned Imry, was it? Or any of his family like kind of well known as knights other than him, or is that?
I mean, they're a house from the Reach, so they're all expected to be decent at tilting. Kind of comes with the territory, but none of them of particular note.
Yeah, I'm going to approach and refer to him as I believe it was Imry. Is that you? Just kind of bypass the line.
Yeah, just make your way to the front. Yeah, Sir Imry is planning to joust. This is actually Sir Aaron Florent.
I will purposely misname him as if I mistaken him for Imry.
No problem. But yeah, the one overlooking the lists isn't a knight that's jousting. That's a little too crooked even for Westeros. He goes, "Is this? Am I who? Who are you?"
Lucaris Nymaryen. I thought I recognized you. My mistake. I thought you were a knight.
Yes. Well, what is it you need?
I need a place to put my tent during the list, I believe. Somebody around here does that. Is that you?
I'm terribly busy overseeing the list itself. He is not. He's doing nothing. I have no time to deal with that sort of thing. Just send a squire to stake out a spot. Everyone has their squires and pages to it. You're not a squire yourself, are you?
No, I've said my words from the 7. I've taken the vow. I'm no squire. I would expect you to treat me with some respect. I'm going to kind of try to throw as much of an air of authority as I can.
Go ahead and make me a status roll. Do you have any status specialties?
No.
Nope. Okay. Because there's several of them are kind of fuzzy that way. Because breeding is kind of the generic etiquette. but tournaments is also like tournament specific, so a couple of them could work. So just roll me straight status.
I rolled pretty good. I got a 14.
Okay. In my head, I gave this guy a difficulty 8 for you to just try to impress. So you made it by 6, which is going to be enough for an extra degree of success. So he just looks you up and down, this knighted, recently, wasn't it?
It was.
Santagar's lad. Yes, you squired for him, didn't you?
I have so many years doing so.
Well, I'm sure the Master-at-Arms of the Red Keep, no doubt you had to earn your spurs. Just here, take this. And he gives you a little scrap of paper that's got, like, his seal on it, and some absolutely illegible scribbling. Likely by design, but also quite conveniently, because, as you know well, that basically has just turned it into a get whatever the fuck you want coupon, because nobody can tell what it's supposed to give. He goes, just take this and go find a spot you like. I'm sure that the man who squired for the Master-at-Arms can browbeat some squires. Off you go. I need to oversee the lists, keep things running smoothly. Serious business.
Well stated. I'll take the paper, I'll pocket it, and I'll leave.
So, now, it's up to you to find a good spot. The weird news is that most of the spots are basically the same. There's big, grassy fields that are outside the city, and it kind of took you a while to walk out here, or ride. I don't remember if you bought a horse or not. You're in the city, so you kind of didn't need one.
I don't think I currently have one.
Yeah. So you had to walk, but everybody else is. The city is way overcrowded during a tourney like this, so you're just able to go with the flow of traffic and like buy a turkey leg and shit on the way, whatever. It's just a Ren fair all the way down.
Some wine.
Yeah.
Turkey.
But the tourney grounds themselves, they've got sections of them cordoned off for the various contests, and those sections are mostly all in the middle, which means you kind of have your pick of where you want to be on these rolling fields. Otherwise, the benefit of being close to the action is that you're close to the action. You don't have to travel as far to get to and from the events that you want to spectate or watch in. The benefit of being closer to King's Landing and finding a spot towards the edge of the tourney fields is that you're closer to King's Landing. So you don't have to travel as far if you want to actually stay in town, which most nobles do. A lot of these tents go empty except for like the night before that night is jousting type of thing, but it's a status thing. The benefit to being further away from King's Landing, past all the stuff, and out towards like the Kingswood, is that you're further away from King's Landing. And you don't have everybody like walking past your stuff. You've got a little bit more privacy. So it's kind of your call. You want to be close to the action. You want to be close to the city. You want to be on the edges of the fields. You see a lot of squires running around with stakes that have a couple ribbons hanging on them. Not quite fancy banners, but it looks like everyone's kind of staking out their campground areas. But you can see pretty far. Most of the tents aren't up yet. There you go, man. Take a look. Where you want?
I'm going to look for something not too far from the turning field, but also the opposite direction of King's Landing. I kind of want to be more towards the opposite.
Okay. You see a pretty good-looking spot, and as you are choosing that spot, I'm just kind of flubbing the awareness rolls because I know you're not going to fail them. And we're going to cut down on these easy die rolls. So you find a pretty nice spot. It looks good and comfy. It looks nice and flat, but it's not like low down between any gentle hills. So if it rains, it's not going to giant puddle type of stuff. But as you're scoping it out, a squire comes trotting up with his arms loaded with stakes, trailing a few ribbons. And it looks like he's about to try and poach it from you.
I'm going to kind of clear my throat loudly as I walk towards where he's going to put his stake down.
At a glance, you can tell that this lad is serving House Charlton. He's got that color scheme going, and again, he's wearing that padded doublet with the heraldry on it. He kind of freezes and looks up at you, because every squire gets an uncanny bonus on awareness rolls for a knight trying to get their attention.
Bonus!
Good lad, it almost looks like you almost dropped your stake on my spot here. Do you need any help carrying it?
No. He kind of stutters and stammers a bit. He's got the sprigs of mistletoe of House Charlton on his tabard. They're Riverlanders, so pretty far from the capital, and he looks a little overwhelmed by everything that he is seeing, and he's just kind of freezes up and is just staring at you, kind of deer in the headlights-ish.
Lucaris is wearing his full scale armor, holding his sword on his hip, looking as impressive as he can.
Yeah, he's just like deer in the headlights at you.
Well, move along. Are you simple?
No, my lord. It's just that Sir Andre sent me to claim some ground, and I thought to claim this ground, my lord, sir.
I suspect your lord would appreciate the land over there. I'm going to kind of point to a distance between two hills. The hills should block view. If he appreciates privacy, that should aid him.
He did say he was not picky, my lord, and that's a redoubtable argument. I suppose. Very well, my lord. I will use that. My lord, why do I have so many stakes? He gave me 8. It seems I would only need 4, 1 for each corner, or less, were I to make a triangle. I do not recall what 8 corners would be. 7 would be holy, but a spare? I do not know. Please, my lord, this is my first tourney, my lord.
How about this? Give me one of your stakes, and you'll have 7. That will honor the 7.
Yes.
The Lord will see you have set up 7 stakes, and he'll find this is a good omen, I bet.
Of course.
Maybe not of this conversation.
No, my lord. I will tell him I thought of it myself, my lord. I think he'll be proud, my lord. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And he almost drops the lot of them because he's got like his arms full, and manages to hold one out to you, and then tries to bow and back up at the same time. And unless you stop him, he will scurry away.
No, I'll give him a polite nod, and then I'll go pick up his stake.
All right, now you have a stake that is bearing the green gold of the core colors of House Charlton, which are not yours.
I'll go and set my stakes up and prepare an area. I'll just ignore this.
All right, so you can mark out a central field with that stake and some sort of handkerchief or knightly favor that you have. So that'll be like the crowning stake, along with the armful that you brought. You're able to cordon off a pretty solid area. And again, you want to just trounced that kid in an even easier social thing. So that is 2 problems down. And I'm going to need you to make me a memory test, which calls under cunning by default, like it's the core attribute. I am going to say, though, that you can use your connections bonus because this is recalling information about King's Landing, and specifically, it's recalling information about King's Landing, looking for a place for your noble family to stay in town. So your social habits will certainly play into this. Do you have a specialty, any other specialty, that you think would work for you recalling and then securing an inn or tavern for your sisters and brother?
I do have a bonus in Streetwise, if that helps, for knowledge.
Sure. So let's go ahead and make it knowledge Streetwise instead of the cutting memories. Let's go knowledge with Streetwise, and then don't forget the bonus from your I believe it was called Welcoming.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, it's a lot of twos. I'll drop one of them. That is 5, 6 is 11, plus 4 is 15.
Okay, that is not bad at all. So give me 1 second. 15 total, you say? My notes.
I would definitely look for a place not too far from, the entertainment.
Define
Sure,
entertainment.
sure.
Soft, smells good, silky.
A whorehouse.
Yeah.
Fine chocolate.
Yes, I'm sure
Wow.
that he means fine chocolate. Well,
Do Dornish girls count?
They do have some Islanders, and
you're able to find one kind of in the middle. The King's Gate is the one that heads out towards the tourney ground, and you know that you're going to be heading in that direction. It's kind of also the most southern of the gates. Ironically, it's not the one that the King's Road connects to on the south. That's actually kind of a southeastern gate, but it is the one on that corner. And you're able to find one not far from the King's Gate, and it's also not far from the Street of Steel, which you know is going to be bustling and hustling and seeing a lot of traffic because the city is about to be overflowing with knights and lords.
I specifically chose this because I know my sisters would appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's not very close to the Street of Silks, but it's not like the Street of Silks is the only place in town that has rentable affection. So you are actually able to spot the Green Tree Inn, which is a handy location because it's not terribly far from the King's Gate, but it's also right across the street from the Jade Spring, which is a house of middling repute, and they're owned by the same fellow. Lyle Brewer owns them both. You've actually never stayed at the Green Tree, but you have spent the night at the Jade Spring before, and it's comfortable and clean, so you're sure the Green Tree should be just fine. And you are a regular enough at similar establishments around the city that, again, I'm just going to nix the necessary intrigue rolls, because you'd blow them out of the water and we would waste the dice. So you are able to secure rooms just fine with Lyle Brewer, owner of the Green Tree Inn. You're there at midday, which is your breakfast, and a lot of other people are eating. Mostly the more well-to-do kind of merchant and laborer types. Most small folk don't really eat lunch. That's a third meal. Who can afford a third meal? But some of them, especially this close to the Street of Steel, are kind of living it up because they know they're about to make a lot of money off of a lot of nights. So it's a friendly crowd, but most of them are just here to eat and drink right now, not to get a place to stay. So you're able to secure the lodging just fine. And now, all you have to do is wait, because you're sure that your family is on the way right now, traveling peacefully up the King's Road. And
Sounds
jump.
good.
And jump cut to the King's Road. To the south, just at the edge of the Kingswood, where the last of the bodies is falling into the mud. As the group of you incapacitated one bandit and handily slew 3 others in a light rain in the lush green border, kind of just between Crownlands and Stormlands, as you were ambushed just as the last episode ended. You were accosted by a pair of men with battle axes and ragged armor, and a pair of men with hunting bows and ragged armor. And
I disabled one, right?
yes, that's what you knocked one out. The other 3 are down and bleeding to death or already deceased. And we'll cut back to the action.
Does it look like there are any other enemies around?
No. You guys had good enough awareness rolls last session that there's no problem that you didn't see anyone else within range. Just these 4.
Quickly dismount and approach the one that I knocked down, maybe unconscious. Either way.
Are there any house
go ahead,
colors on them?
They are not wearing colors. They're in the drab browns and grays of small folk. A few patches in their clothes, lots of mud on their clothes. They absolutely just look like brigands. Yours is down and bleeding from a head wound, Kevin, and kind of groaning insensate in the mud.
I'll present my blade to his throat, kick any weapon that he has close at hand away. Stay down, you low-life scum.
Yeah. He continues to groan insensate.
Peel off his helmet really quick.
No helmet.
Oh, okay. So does it look like I've bashed his brains in, or can he talk?
You have not collapsed his skull or anything, but he's got a head wound and is still pretty groggy. He doesn't seem to be dying. You don't have a very high healing skill, but you don't see brain or anything like that, so
All right. I will grab him by the collar with my free hand, lift him up a little bit. Why did you attack us?
Is anyone else up to anything in particular? It's going to take this guy the equivalent of a couple rounds to kind of get his head on straight. So go ahead.
He's a brigand. It's quite obvious why he attacked us.
My lady, with all respect, even brigands have masters.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was Adam, not one of the ladies.
Sorry, I thought that was, I completely misheard that. My lord, with all respect, even brigands can have masters. I was looking at something else, and I swear I thought that was Reyna. My apologies.
Sorry.
Felicia did get a new haircut this week, so we'll blame it on that.
Thanks.
So his head just kind of lolls around, and he eventually, the eyes kind of uncloud a bit, and he looks up at you with nothing but fear and a good bit of pain in his eyes. What? Take the black. I'll take the black. Just don't kill me.
Well, now we have to take him to King's Landing.
I mean, you don't have to.
Well, we don't have to.
Just a thief. No good, down low thief. Should do to him what we do to those back home.
It will probably put us in better standing if we're turning in brigands when we have a reputation for such ourselves.
I think that is a good point. We should take him and turn him over to the King's Justice.
Please, water, my lords, my ladies. Water and a bandage, perhaps. And just don't kill me, please.
And perhaps some iced wine, you swine.
My head does ache something fierce.
Then maybe you shouldn't have attacked people on the King's Road. Let's truss him up and put him in their wagon.
He is quite easily trussed. Again, he's like half conscious at best. If you bother to look close enough, you can see his pupils are wildly and asymmetrically dilated, and he's just all fucking concussed. Yeah, and you've got some rope, and plenty of rope just goes in a campsite period. So you're able to get him tied up, and he just kind of murmurs to himself in the back. There's like a sack of potatoes back there.
I mean, since I'm kind of back there as well, I will quietly give him some water.
All right.
Take a modicum of pity on him.
Okay, anyone doing anything else?
Are any of these brigands more well-dressed than the others?
They're basically all in bloody, muddy rags, and that was before they got stabbed with swords and spears and got their heads cut off and stuff.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's just, yeah.
Did one of them command the attack? Like, go!
Not that you heard. Remember, you just spotted a couple arrows coming at you, glancing off armor. You didn't hear anybody yelling orders or that sort of thing.
Are there any, do they have anything in their pockets? I mean, I doubt they can read, but maybe orders from somebody or coin that they likely wouldn't have, any clues or usable gear?
Hey, somebody in chat, give me a random number between 1 and 10. They don't have any orders on them. They don't really have pockets. Poor people don't get fancy pants with pockets. They're like women today. But they just have like crude breeches. They have 7 copper pieces between them. One of them had a bit of moldy cheese wrapped in some cloth and tucked in his waistband.
The good mold or the bad mold?
It's small folk cheese that was carried in a bandit's pants. What do
bad
you think?
mold.
Bad mold.
Oh, so he was wearing that cheese. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it was wrapped in some cloth, but then like in his waistband. So like it was close to some stuff that you probably don't want to eat. But if you do, no judgment. Some people like small folk. That's their kink. It's where bastards come from sometimes.
What to call this cheese is too obvious a joke.
All right.
So yeah, nothing of particular note or import. By all appearances, it really was just a band of brigands.
Well, we've apprehended one, and that'll put us in good standing.
Right. Make sure they're not blocking the road.
Oris is able to effortlessly haul them off the road, one per hand. He kind of just grabs them by like the waistband of their clothes, still with his big mattock over his shoulder, in one hand, and then just kind of bends down, grabs one, and tosses him like most people would. I was gonna say like most people would a child, but that was just a matter of scale. Not that anybody should like throw children. That's bad. Don't do that. But yeah, that sort of thing. Just that real light thing that's easy to toss. That it's not a child. That's what he tosses them like. Just 3 quick trips, and he kind of looks like he might want to kick the last one out of the way. The one that the Lady Bela took the head off of is by far the dirtiest of them. But he's pretty sure that the highborn might frown on literally kicking a corpse out of the road. So he sucks it up and grabs him by the waistband also and gives him a toss. But then you see him kind of swiping his hand on some of the rain damp grasses on the side of the road before clambering up into the wagon.
He does kick the head, though, and for a moment it seems like a sporting activity. Why could this be the progenitor of football?
No.
It's not like the Dornish haven't desecrated corpses before. So, he might just be misjudging you. With that, you're able to get rolling. Adam, you're still in the bench up front, and occasionally, if you're interested, Oris is offering you the reins if you want them. But then you're able to kind of lean over into the back, and Oris is pointedly looking away when you give the water skin, hold it up and offer drinks to the bandit. He doesn't comment either way, just makes a point of not noticing you kind of gainsay a knight. He's just like, not looking there. I'm assuming everyone else is back on their horses, and we will continue apace. Does anyone else have any particular plans for the remainder of the trip to King's Landing?
Not get attacked again.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
Yeah.
We have
Avoid
limited control for that. But
Don't lose all that gold.
well, I have quite pointedly not told any of you how much you've got allocated.
Yeah, you've just got that oiled leather envelope thing of documents. It's probably stowed in one of the chests. Of note, you guys also got a chest from Grandfather that has an assortment of bottles of your famous red wine in it, along with some padding. It's a small chest, much like the ones that you stock a pavilion tent with, and it's basically just a whole extra traveling wet bar type of thing, specifically of Wyvern's Red, your home wine. So you had a couple extra goodies, thanks to Crimson Dude and his royal boon granted to Nymaryen. A couple extra goodies.
Thanks, James.
So, you continue your journey apace. Every now and then, Adam, you notice that Oris is kind of rotating his arm a little bit. It's a little bit stiff from the fight. There certainly isn't any blood, but he grumbles under his breath a little bit. He did get hit by an axe, but he seemed to take it much better than most. I don't believe anybody else took any damage. I'm pretty sure all of your castle-crafted armor did their job. So you were able to travel in relative peace the rest of the way, and then you get into the traffic as you are making your way to the Mud Gate, which is the nickname for the River Gate, which is this kind of southeastern one that leads into King's Landing. This is the gate that the King's Road connects to, and you're not the only ones arriving. Now, the good news is it's not as absolutely choked with incoming traffic as it could be, because most of the people arriving from this direction are Stormlanders and Crownlanders, and they live close enough that they probably already got here. So you're just with the other people that kind of had some reason to be slowed down on the road a little bit. And there's also a fair number of merchants and tinkers and that sort of thing, because anywhere that there's a tourney, there's going to be lots of business. So you're in traffic a little bit, but it's not, hours and hours of being stuck on the road. And the drizzle did die out as you got to the looming walls of King's Landing and the impressive red stone of the Red Keep, which kind of reminds you of the Red Mountains back home. And you've got that cool profile shot. You're all struck by how lush and green it still is, because this is really wet and plant thick for most of what you're used to. But it's a pretty damn impressive city. It is by far the largest city you've ever seen. And it is a bustle. It is just full of people coming and going. You can see them flooding out the other gate across the river. And you can see the tourney field spread out off to your left, which is off to the west there, as tents are starting to go up, and this rainbow panoply of colors, as all these different lords and knights are flying their pavilions and their banners, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Well, we will take our place in the queue to get inside, and it seems that every lord in Westeros is present.
It does, and you're still a couple days early for the tournament. So you realize that some of the Stormlanders might just be arriving like tomorrow instead, if they've got a much shorter trip. But yeah, it feels like everyone in Westeros is here. But eventually, you are able to make your way up through the crowds to the gate, and you see a foursome of gold cloaks standing there, but you also see the half-familiar features of one Sir Lucerys Nymaryen. It's been a couple years since you all saw each other much, but there's no mistaking those house colors and the proud bearing, which is the polite way of saying the smug, satisfied smirk of another Nymaryen.
I'll wave.
Luke!
Lucerys!
But he yawned slowly.
He waves for you to come. They're the ones in traffic, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll see you guys in an hour. Just keep going. You're going the right way."
This look.
You're doing great,
like,
guys.
Like, why are you in line? Just get your ass over here.
So, before too much longer, Sir Lazy Lucerys here is just apparently not going to amble up to the rest of the family. But you are able to be
It's shady
reunited
here.
Yeah, sure. So he keeps his place lounging against the stone walls of King's Landing, waiting for the rest of them. But you are able to be reunited a heartbeat before a surly gold cloak looks up and he looks at Luke and he goes, well, welcome to the capital. Taxes and fees and such has already been paid, according to me records. You're not sure he knows how to read. He might just be the one holding the thing. They've got some parchment. It could be somebody else, but
no, I don't bother
Well,
watching
thank
it, so
you.
we'll just go.
Lord Cloak.
So the NPCs are currently out of the way, and you guys can reunite in relative peace for a moment. As he goes, but we still got to inspect it and watch out for. Whoa! You got a person back here.
Right!
What the fuck is that
Sorry,
about?
we have a prisoner.
He gives Luke a look like you didn't say anything about people.
Luke shrugs and goes,
We ran into
What?
a bit of a trouble on the King's Road. This was the only survivor of the brigands who attacked us, so we brought him to turn him over to the King's justice. That would be you.
Questions how he survived.
My name's John Woodsman, and I'm here to take the black, Your Grace. He says, trying to heave himself to sit upright.
I wanted to approach the band they have and look him over. Are you a brigand? Is that the deal?
No,
He's a
Your
thief.
Majesty. I'm an oath-sworn recruit to the Night's Watch. I'm on my way to serve out my days honorably on the wall and to protect the realms of man, your lordship. Wine, please. Wine, if you have any.
I rest
I'm
my
gonna
hand
hand
on
him my
blade.
wine and shake my head and go, not exactly the Kingswood Brotherhood, is.
I rest my hand on my blade. Funny. Just thought you'd collect some taxes to support the wall on your way.
Thank you for the wine, for the honorable men of the watch. Your royal sternness. Where do I go now?
If you are a sworn member of the Black, then your brigandry is going to be punished even more severely, don't you think?
On my way to swear. I'm a new recruit. We said so. We swore an oath of blood back in the wood, you recall? You recall that? I think I recall that.
What I recall was you saying, don't kill me, I'll take the black, just please don't kill me.
That was what I heard.
Right, and then you did not kill me. And so you did your share, and I seek only to do mine.
The wall's always asking for more recruits.
I'm quite sure they're going to offer you the opportunity to leave the Black cells to take the Black, but all in good time.
So the gold cloak actually hands the, I want to call it a tablet. That's not quite right. But it's basically, it's just a flat piece of wood that they can lay the parchment on. But it's not like a chalk tablet they're writing on. It's just kind of a writing board thing. But anyways, he hands that over, and it looks like this one actually does know how to read. And he goes, bold Sir Lucaris, is it, giving us extra work to do seems to have not been covered in the gate fees that were already paid.
7 hells. How much extra would it cost to get this man escorted to his justice? I believe he wants to take the black, so.
And then, as you say, 7 hells, who's, 7 silver sounds about right. You hear from behind you, and sauntering up with a swordsman's cat-like grace is a gold cloak that you do not like, and that does not like you. And that is Allar Deem. Allar Deem. Deem. He has a bad reputation on the Street of Silks for hurting the girls, both on and off duty. He is not a likable chap. He is ill-liked by the very people that you are well-liked by. He is a very dangerous blade. He is generally reputed to be the best swordsman in the Gold Cloaks. He likes to call himself the best swordsman in King's Landing. You know that's not true because you served in the Red Keep, where a couple competitors for best swordsman in King's Landing hang out.
There's a few.
But he is very good with a blade, everyone knows. But yeah, as you say 7 hells, he goes, 7 silvers then. That sounds about right. And he holds his hand out. The other hand is on the hilt of his sword, of course.
Yeah. One of my hands goes to the hilt of my sword. The other one goes to my coin purse. And as I kind of give off a soft sigh and grab 7 silver and toss it.
Look, no. We're not going to be shook down. You can have 2 silvers.
Is that my younger brother? What the hell's happened to your leg?
I just want to be clear. Are we paying to have the police take a criminal?
That's what it sounds like to me.
No, you're paying the axle tax. This is a 2-axled wagon, and knowing what I do of House Nymaryen, I'd wager it's a 2-axle wagon that is at least partially full of goods to be imbibed during the tourney. That makes you merchants, and I'd wager that young Sir Lucaris didn't pay the appropriate fees for trade goods being brought into the city during a time of tournament and rejoice.
Are you calling me a merchant? I'm the heir to House Nymaryen,
My jaw drops.
Sister, just
and you're calling me a merchant.
Please.
Sister,
let's not escalate matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, our
I'm sure we
diplomats.
can resolve this peacefully.
all wagons must be greased. All axles must be greased. Is that what the case, sister?
Let's go for a status roll. Go ahead and add intimidation if you have it for Lady Reyna taking offense at being called merchants.
My hand grabs the hilt of my sword tighter.
Oris, for his part, is very much sitting still. His shoulders are very clenched, and that's easy to spot because his shoulders are very big. But he is tense as a drawn bow, and you don't know if he plans on picking up this workhorse and hitting somebody with it or what. But like, he looks ready to do whatever he's going to have to do, but he's very pointedly, like, head down, not looking at the gold cloaks, etc., etc.
All right, I have a status of 4, so and I don't have intimidation yet. But I rolled 18 because I roll 4, keep 4.
And I believe heir to the house gives you a +1 or a +2. Either way, however.
+1 is status for influencing without fully engaging in intrigue.
Exactly. And I believe, as the blood of Valyria, you also get a bonus on who you can status without a full intrigue. It's not really an I believe, it's an I know. I started the sentence more wishy-washy than I meant to. So you are able to kind of try to browbeat this guy without it going to a full intrigue. But this guy is actually also very difficult to browbeat. He looks at you, and then he looks at the assortment of your siblings, and then he flips his thumb, and one coin goes arcing up into the wagon to just clatter against your chests of stuff and against the tent and roll down into the floorboards. Somebody goes, "Fine then, a tax of 6, a coin for the stranger."
A coin for the stranger.
He leaves his hand pointedly on the hilt of his sword. "And is that the only tax the stranger claims today?" And then he glances upwards at the murder holes in the gate that you're standing in. It's just kind of reminding you, like, he's a gold cloak and you're at his gate. Kind of keeping what he can of dignity and threat.
I'm going to raise an eyebrow.
The stranger does not need more to feed on today.
Before Luke says anything, she speaks, and he kind of defers to her and steps back.
"Well then, let it be said House Nymaryen is as wise as they are brave. As you were." And he waves you on.
Merchants. I ride forward. I try to teach my horse how to stomp.
I'm
Larry. Yeah, your horse knows how to stomp. You're able to kind of high step a little, kick a little bit of mud in his direction, etc., etc. He does not like step out of the way of your group of multiple horsemen and a wagon. Like, he stays right where he is, where there's like just enough room for you to go past in that kind of final challenge my authority type of thing. Like, you know, it's posturing up, and he's like, "They can go, now they're going because I told them to go, and I'm not getting out of the way," because, you know, just that standard schoolyard bully bullshit, but with the authority of the gold cloaks behind him. So, anyone else, any particular response to this, as Lucaris starts to lead you through the streets?
I wish you'd let me talk to him. We didn't have to escalate that. Now we've got someone keeping an eye on us.
I feel like a lot of people will be keeping an eye on us.
So it might be
there's
his
rumors
on
of
this.
indication.
Well,
It might behoove us to be in our best behavior then, don't you think?
We're always on our best behavior.
Which was why I was trying to have a civil word with the man.
Luke, what about this man? Is he someone I should worry about?
Unless you're a whore, no, probably not. But picking a fight with him in front of the gate is not a great idea. He had us, we had the silver. Might as well just let it go. It's not worth the fight here.
So he's someone worth fighting, though, is what I hear.
If one were to open his throat, I would not complain, but in front of the gate, with the murder holes, the archers, the other gold cloaks, it's not a fight you win.
Definitely true. Which is why we paid.
That was my plan.
Thank you, my lords. I wonder if I might have a bit more of that wine. Things were quite tense back there at the gate. They were quite tense.
Yeah,
more.
Second time today, I nearly lost my life.
For a brigand, this one tells the truth. I had more wine. Than yeah.
His hands are still tied, but he very carefully lifts it up. Doesn't spill any. This is a guy that knows how to drink. Let no one say John Woodson isn't an alcoholic. I
smile as I lead them towards their quarters.
Yeah, from the river gate, aka the mud gate, it's a left turn, and you're able to make your way. You hear the street of steel, as like every blacksmith in town is doing work. And you're not quite on it. You're not making your way right through the middle of it. But that sound carries. Even over the enormous background noise of King's Landing, that ring of hammer and anvil of dozens of smiths, maybe 100 or more, counting their apprentices and the amount of work they've got. It's like a, it carries. So you definitely know the quarter of the city that you're in. As you make your way down the road, you've got kind of a big enough caravan led by enough nobles that people clear out of the way pretty handily. And you make your way towards the Green Tree Inn, which is on the way towards the King's Gate, which if you just keep going right down the King's Gate, you're headed towards the tourney grounds.
You lot will like these quarters. It's near a brewery.
Brewer, we have wine.
And the brewery has other things.
Yeah, we did bring wine from home, so you can have a little bit of taste of the mountains.
I would appreciate that. And I look up at the squire. By the way, who is this one? It's like the Red Mountains have come alive.
He's Oris. He's Willie Will's son.
This is little Oris.
It's not so little anymore.
Oris snorts the way a draft horse snorts. He goes, and I'm not his son. It's Oris Rivers now. Or Oris Waters, excuse me. That was an out-of-character fuck-up, not a it's Oris Waters, or so he tells me now. He looks to be still a little broody about that.
If you're not a Oris, very few of us are his son.
I'm sure that made him feel much better somehow.
Interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Take a big old swig of the wine.
You've got the Green Tree Inn. You've got the Jade Spring right across the street. And then continuing down River Row is the Tourney Greens. Where do people want to go? And for this part, it is absolutely acceptable to start splitting the party some. We still don't want everyone to just kind of go off on their own. But you are nobles, and there is a tavern/inn right there.
Before we go...
You don't need to set up the pavilion tent, so...
Before we go, I'm going to turn to the Mr. Rivers here. So, you brought this bastard with you, did you?
He's our squire.
I'm going to kind of glare at him for a moment, and then kind of grin and kind of extend my arms to give him a big embrace.
He seems absolutely nonplussed by the glare. His brow furrows a bit at the bastard, because he's still getting used to that. The embrace is okay. He's kind of half-assing it, because he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He's not, like, hugging you back with extra warmth or whatever.
I actually met Kevin's character.
Oh, shit, my bad. Never mind, go ahead.
I wondered why.
We have too many bastards.
I've been like, excuse me?
He leans in and kind of extends his arms. So I hear you've been keeping my sister safe. Is that true?
Eyes dart over very suddenly to Bela. Of course, my lord.
I said safe, nothing else.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said I don't need anyone to keep me safe.
Of course not.
Yeah, that's not what I heard. Did somebody not go down on a horse recently?
I lost a horse recently. I'm the one who went down at the battle.
Well,
not
I
bad.
appreciate it. And I extended an arm to greet him properly.
Take it. I understand you've earned your spurs as well, sir.
I've said the words, yes.
Do you not feel that you have earned your knighthood?
I've been away from home for a long time. I've done what needs to be done.
Well, old gods and new willing, you'll return home soon enough.
Perhaps. Anyways, here are the quarters. This is the road towards the turning grounds, and the brewery is back right over here.
The brewery. Okay, well, what do we do with our prisoner?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
Does he want to come to the brewery?
Of course he does.
Can I?
Wait.
No!
Wait, no.
He's a prisoner. He's not a guest.
So Lucaris,
I'm like,
forgive my temerity, but is it the custom in King's Landing to fet those who attempt to murder you upon the road?
well, did he intend to murder you, or did he just intend to rob somebody? They're very different.
Ask
Well, he
Lady
came at
Bela.
us with weapons.
Ask Lady Bela, or perhaps
One at a time.
Lord Adam.
Thieves are the same as murderers.
I think in this... Go ahead.
He came at us with the intention of murdering us and stealing our goods. So he's a thief and a want-to-be murderer.
I suspect the difference between being a murderer and a thief in this case is the quality of their marksmanship. In this case, thankfully low, but the intent was there all the same.
Exactly.
I don't want to be somebody who contradicts you all, but if you're going to make an enemy out of everybody who wants to rob you, you're going to have a lot of enemies.
Well, we were attacked, and we defended ourselves. And most of them are dead now, except this one, who should be dead.
But he is.
Well, that's fair.
I'll walk over to Woodson. So, perhaps we should give you the benefit of mercy. Here is the option. Here's what I propose. If you have any particular information which might be worth saving your life, then we will show mercy. If not, you can join your friends, and the gods will judge.
I don't know nothing. I'm just wanting to take the black, live out my life, using my bow for good, not ill, and with them lads up on the wall. I don't want to die, my lord, but I got nothing for you.
Nothing.
What do you want?
He doesn't know anything, Vannon.
Lean close to him. Just trying to find this out. Are there other bandits in the woods?
I start laughing.
Yes. There's dozens. There's
Are there
There's
more?
boars in the woods as well.
Are there more which you are connected with?
No, or just the four of us wouldn't have attacked you. Would have brought 6 or 8 or 10, or the bloody Fox Knight himself.
I'm surprised you can count so high. You'll be a credit to the wall. If it please, your ladies, lords, I'll be happy enough to take him to the city guard.
All right. I have no objection.
Let him take the black.
Very well.
That's what he wants to do. That's what they'll let him do. Just take him.
I will certainly notify them of his intention towards a nobler life. I assure you, my lord. So with that, if nobody objects, take him, lead him off, and I exit screen for a little bit while I do that, unless you have something to run for it.
Nope, Vannon's gone.
I
So that
step
is-
forward and I grab the wine out of his hand and take it back.
He's not going to take it with him.
So, Sir Vannon is taking the prisoner to hand over off-screen to Gold Cloaks. That leaves several highborns, a drinking house, a squire, a tourney field, a wagon, and some horses to take care of.
Let's go to the turning field, and that way we can start to set up our tent, and then we can return to the inn and have a meal and something to drink.
You do that. I will be studying geography. Gotta make those maester's chains somehow. I throw my arms in the air and I head towards the brew.
Luke, question before you leave.
Yes, sister.
What is a fox knight?
A knight with a fox symbol, I'd assume.
Quick out-of-character note, much like the Vulture King down in the Red Mountains, for the last 10 or 20 years, the Fox Knight has been kind of an urban myth. They claim that it's an outlaw knight, kind of a robber knight that prowls through the Kingswood. It could be an actual guy. It could just be the most well-armed bandit leader in the Kingswood. It is not a member of House Florent. The time that they have described a sigil of a knight like this, it is not at all like the sigil of House Florent. I mention that because I just talked about House Florent. They also have a fox. It's an unrelated thing.
Just a legend. Still away your heart, though. He's told to still those of maidens.
Very well.
All right.
Will you join us at the inn after you're done doing whatever you're about to do?
Of course.
It would be nice to catch up with you.
He kind of shrugs and kind of a little soft sigh. Yeah. Okay. I've marked off territory of the turning grounds. You should be able to find it.
Onward, Oris!
All right. Oris gives the reins a few clicks, and eventually Boulder, the big, slow as hell draft horse that is slow to get moving but rolls forever once he does. That's why they named him Boulder. He gets plodding along again. You all make your way down through the fishmongers here at the end of River Row. That's the one downside. It is a good distance away from where you're actually staying, but you're going to have to go through like the fish markets to get in and out of the city, to and from the tourney ground. So it's a very, very thick smell, especially to those of you that aren't terribly accustomed to it. But you're able to make your way through there without incident. The tourney grounds, even just after this couple of hours difference from late morning to like mid-afternoon, are blossoming like flowers in spring. What used to just be the green rolling hills pockmarked with stakes, there's tents all over the place. And it's turning into a kind of haphazard rainbow motley maze. As you see all these different banners hanging off the proud central poles of these pavilion tents, the big pole in the middle that goes extra high so you can have a banner hanging from it. Some of them also have supplementary banners hanging off every corner of the tent. And of course, the pavilions themselves, much like yours, are in all sorts of proud ancient house colors. Many of them are decorated with variants of the sigils of each house, not just done up in the colors. And the people that you see not on this kind of roadway, like people on the road, you see a lot of small folk and stuff, but looking to either side to where the tents are sometimes already set up, it's nothing but like pages and squires, and just everybody wearing house colors and scurrying about. The smaller they are, the bigger the hurry they're in. So the pages are the youngest, quickest, nimblest, and the ones most likely to be running errands. Squires are a little bit older and a little more dignified and maybe teenage surly about their work, but they're still moving with purpose. The knights themselves tend to be just kind of chatting with one another or sitting on like a camp chair in the middle and occasionally pointing to oversee their campsite being put up. But it's just a riot of colors all around you. And then the undercurrent of the crowd, much like the soil of Westeros itself, are the small folk, who are in comparatively drab colors. Even in the real life, Middle Ages, not everything is brown and gray and dirty. But small folk tend to not be allowed to wear the colors of the houses that, even as like retainers, they're at most going to have like a tabard or something. So the tinkers and the camp followers and the people selling meat on a stick, etc., all the small folk are just kind of milling around, mixing and mingling and desperately making what coin they can. We are getting pretty close to our halfway point, so we're going to go ahead and take that break as Oris gets to work putting up your tent and kind of kit bashing together a little stables area out of, it's just like 3 sticks lashed together, 2 posts and a crossbeam to kind of lazily tie some of the horses at. And everyone's got this sort of thing going on. So you've got some time as Oris gets to work on the pavilion tents. He's able to spend a few of those copper to get a couple other pages and squires to help out, so that the proud young scions of the noble house aren't seen doing their own manual labor. But we're going to go ahead and cut to a break, and we will pick up in about 10 minutes as we cut back to the Green Tree Inn, and things will pick up from there. So, Erica, run that outro, and everybody, we'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Back in 10.
Thank you.
Right back.
Test, test, test. All right, everybody, and welcome back. I was just kind of half-assedly reminded during the chat with some great questions, with some great viewers, that I forgot to go kind of back over the party's pet NPC and some additional muscle, very literally, that's along to help out on these first story arcs. One unique issue about the Sea of Spears is that 3 of our 5 players are brand new to the system, and it is a fairly lethal system once blades get drawn or once intrigues, the social combats roll. So I wanted to make sure they kind of had an extra NPC to help out. That extra NPC is young Oris, who recently found out his name is Oris Waters. Last session, we met another NPC, Woolly Will, or Will of the Bells, who was knighted during Robert's Rebellion by Lord Robert. He wasn't King Robert yet. After the Battle of the Bells, he was a man-at-arms that served well, got knighted, became a hedge knight, and has been running a tourney knight circuit, just making a living wagering on himself at tourneys instead of fighting battles. For the last dozen years or so, his page/squire, and who everybody assumed was his son, was Oris, a black-haired lad that he showed up with during one visit at Wyvern's Rest, the ancestral home of House Nymaryen. Woolly Will of the Bells, despite being a great big shaggy bear of a crude lowborn hedge knight, has never been refused at Wyvern's Rest. Lord Maekar, the PC's grandfather, does not seem to like him much, but there must be some sort of respect or debt or both there, because even though their personalities clash, he's always let Woolly Will in, normally when he needs to heal up, and sampled some of that Wyvern's Red, the famous red wine that the house makes. Oris hit a growth spurt since your last visit. It's been about 5 years, and that scrawny, gangly kid has quadrupled in mass and is now built like, I don't know, fucking J.J. Watt. He's, 6'6", big, broad shoulders, long swordsman's arms, not like a power lifter built like a fire plug build, still lots of mass, but lean and quick and dangerous to go with the bulk. He is not the scrawny 12-year-old that's some lowborn squire that you all remember. Oris recently learned his name is actually Oris Waters. He was originally from King's Landing. Woolly Will picked him up from who he thought was his mother. But before they came back to King's Landing, which was specifically at Lord Maekar's request, Lord Maekar asked Oris to come. Woolly Will looked hesitant, which is weird because Woolly Will never looks hesitant about a damn thing, especially with a plate of food in his hands. But the decision was made. Oris came, but before you all left, Oris heard that his name is actually Oris Waters, and he is a bastard, and he has been extra brooding and surly and tense during this visit. That brooding surliness has not noticeably diminished, even as you guys are having dinner here in the Green Tree Inn. It is late afternoon, getting towards dusk. The pavilion tents are up. The proud banners of House Nymaryen are flying. Most of like your extra pack mule, which is the Hedge Knight's extra pack mule, that and the draft horse are kind of stabled down there in the pavilion square. Oris had his own horse to ride. He's got a burly Rouncy that looks like it has either some draft horse or bear blood that he is able to ride up through town. But he's still just kind of sitting quietly and drinking more than he is eating, rather noticeably. He did have a few coins of his own. I don't think that Adam has gone over his envelope of chores for Sir Luke or shared much about the coin. But Oris has been paying for his own drinks, and he's kind of just sitting and brooding and drinking a lot. here in the Green Tree. What is Lady Reyna, the heir, doing here in the Green Tree Inn? It is not a remarkable inn/tavern, but it's clean, and you're getting good hearty bowls of food. So you've had worse.
I am scoping out the room to see what sort of other people are staying here with us. Kind of making mental notes in my head of who to avoid and who not to avoid.
Okay. Before I dive back into describing other NPCs and what they're doing, let's continue our cycle, though, and get other PCs. But it looked like you had something else to say.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. What is Lady Reyna's twin, Bela, up to?
So I'm going to be enjoying the meal, of course. No longer wearing my battle armor, the scale set of armor that I have. So I have a nice lady-like dress. Nothing too heavy because we're from some really warm lands, so it's a little bit lighter material. The house color is the deep reds and some silvers, that kind of thing. I do have some weapons on me. I have a pair of daggers that I will be able to use to defend me and the rest of us in case anything happens. It shouldn't, but you never know. So yeah, I'm also kind of looking around, being aware of the surroundings, trying to make note of any houses that I might recognize, both larger than us, and seeing even if I can recall details of the smaller houses, paying attention to those who might have rivalries with us, especially the Ironwoods, and making sure none of those terrible people happen to be in this place.
Absolutely. As a note, you're also able to bear that house spear because it is a Valyrian steel weapon, and you are highborn, and you are a knight, and you don't want to leave that alone in the pillory.
Oh no, I don't. So am I able to bring that with me?
Yeah. There are limits. Like you're not going to go to court with it. There's going to be kind of a weapons check or something like that at the Red Keep. You're not going to be able to take it into the presence of the king unless there's a reason for a weapon. If you go hunting or whatever, you're not. But yeah, so there are still weapon etiquette rules, but you're able to fudge some of those weapon etiquette rules. You're a knight. You're allowed to go armed more places than not. And with Valyrian steel, it's not going to be left out. So you can just kind of, it's propped up against the wall behind you or whatever. But yeah, you're knights. You're allowed to go armed and you're expected to.
Well, then I still will keep the daggers with me in case I need something smaller while sitting down. But of course, leaving my other weapons somewhere else in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. All right then. What about Lucaris? What are you up to in this tavern?
He is kind of leaning back, but wine skin in hand. He is wearing trousers and a sword belt and no top, as he's come back from somewhere. And he's been drinking and kind of waiting for everybody to gather up so they can talk about what's going down. He does not have his spear with him, which he normally would have, but he does have a small sword on him.
Did he seem to lose his top? Or like, does he have it and he's just not wearing it?
It's somewhere.
Okay, so he just arrived without it and without it on. All right. How about young Adam?
By the way, so I can describe. He's kind of tall, kind of thin, with a Valyrian look. He has these violet eyes, but he's dyed his hair pitch black.
All right.
Okay. And then we've got Adam, his little brother.
So, are you wanting what he's doing and description?
Sure.
Okay. Well, Adam is kind of like probably about average for like height for his age, but kind of gangly. Kind of sweet-faced, attractive 15-year-old with the kind of the pale blonde hair, from the Valyrian blood, but with dark brown eyes. Just kind of generally curious, always kind of watching things. And during the meal, we'll try to quietly have a word with Oris. Before taking before the kind of the proper conversation with the siblings.
Sure. And then there is Sir Vannon Rivers, the ward of the house. What is the Riverlander up to here in the Green Tree?
I'm going to assume that nothing of any import happened when I dropped off Woodson, so went up to my room or whatever, switched into something a little more comfortable than the travel clothes, and I'm just sitting down to the meal now. Standing tall, thin, and strong, with thick black hair with a white streak in it, even though he's only 20. He's now clad in primarily dark ash grays with dark red trim, somewhere between the colors of the Blackwoods and the Nymaryens. So, sat down. Well, unfortunately, nothing of any adventure to report about our friend, but the guard took him.
At least
Well,
now it's
that's
no
what we
longer our
wanted.
problem.
Look around at 3 people talking.
At least now he's no longer our problem.
Mayhaps he'll find honor on the wall. I kind of lift a wide skin.
Adam?
What?
I thought you were also trying to say something in character.
Yeah, I was, but then other people talked, so I shut up.
Well, now it is your turn. So did young Adam have something to say about our erstwhile alcoholic traveling companion, however reluctant?
Well, it's just that's what we wanted for him to go to the guards.
It's not what I wanted.
Yeah. So, he is taken care of, and at least no longer your problem. They can just execute brigands out of hand, whoever has the right of pit and gallows, or whoever doesn't, because brigandry is generally punishable by death, period. But it's the Red Keep, or rather it's King's Landing, so they might decide to just go ahead and honor his request and keep him in the cells until a wandering crow comes by to take him to the north. So, some NPCs of note, since several of you were specifically looking through the tavern, and because everybody kind of looks around a tavern in a role-playing game. First off, there's Lyle Brewer himself. The man has the surname Brewer for a reason. He tends to just smell of hops and barley. There's a fair amount of oats and stuff thickening up the stew as well. It's kind of a savory, greasy oatmeal type of mix. There's meat in there also, some potato, but there's just an assortment of grains mixed in. It is not the fare that you are accustomed to dining in Dorne. There's not a dragon pepper in sight. It's under peppered in general for your taste. It is kind of small folk fare, but it does fill you up, so it's better than nothing. But he runs a small brewery as well as running this establishment. And Luke may have mentioned he also runs another establishment across the street where maybe his shirt can be found. But there's Brewer himself, who's there at the bar. There are several tavern girls making the rounds, bringing tankards of ale. Again, it's not what you're quite used to down in Dorne. Your house in particular prefers wine, but they've got ales and stouts. It's capital city fare, suitable for working men, and you drink your meal as much as eat it. So it's good, thick, dark beers and that sort of thing. But looking around for some other guests, there's a guy back in the shadowest corner he could find that's got a sword kind of propped up against the wall next to him and within easy reach. He's got dark skin and dark hair, and he's got an assortment of people kind of lining up to come talk to him, it looks like, so you really can't get a good look at him, and when you can, it's in the dark. So PCs being PCs, you notice him pretty handily, but it's hard to make out any details about him. And it's not like huge bustling crowds, it's 3 or 4 people at once. It looks like small folk through and through. A couple of them might be sellswords, a couple of them you're sure are sellswords. A couple of them look like camp followers. One's a tinker with this huge pack that's half blocking your sight by itself. Tinkers carry one of everything on their backpacks, including a spare backpack. So the tinker by himself blocks pretty sight. So looks like some sort of sellsword kind of holding court back in a corner. You haven't seen him here before. That's not a regular here at the Green Tree, Luke. You think he might have been here earlier today when you came in, but it was kind of the midday rush, so you might have just missed it. So he's of note. Taking a look for sigils, though, one is noticeably got your eyes as a group drawn to it because the bearer of the sigil is also leading a raucous drinking song. A rowdy, deep-throated, full-bellied, tankard of ale version of the Dornishman's Wife, which is not a particularly flattering song to Dornishmen, normally all the more so when it's being sung by a Stormlander. They're bearing the colors of House Lugus, which is a minor Stormlands house. They've got a black field for their colors, so they tend to wear a lot of black. Their actual sigil is a silver chalice studded with emeralds. And their words are drink, live, last. They are the rowdiest, drunkenest stereotype of the rowdy, drunken Stormlander, basically. You don't recall them jumping out at you from the history annals of any of the Dornish wars. The Lugus stereotype is that they certainly would not have missed them given the chance. They like to brawl, they like to tilt, they love the melee, and the bearer of that sigil, the one that first catches your eye, is a big burly guy, not quite Oris huge, but definitely a fighting man with a crooked nose, looks like it's been broken a few times, a jaw, and general just profile like a hatchet. Broad, kind of squashed features, broad shoulders, short cropped hair of a fighting man, and is just trying to get more people singing along. Lyle Brewer does not look happy that his common room is full of nothing but Stormlanders and Dornishmen. But, like, nobody's... they're not, like, dance fighting in your direction, right? Nobody seems to be doing, it's when you're a jet, and, like sashaying towards you, pulling switchblades. He might not even notice the Dornishman. He seems to just be, like, cheerfully drinking away. And he's the first one that you all spot. Any immediate reactions there?
Yeah, I'm going to look at him long and hard.
I think that somebody who beats the stream boss should absolutely get a dance fight, but that's just me. Straight up, you got served in Westeros.
Right?
Speaking of the stream boss, 1 second, let me cut in real quick. It looks like Locke the Decker just seized the Iron Throne. Locke, hit us up in chat with a character, PC or otherwise, that you want to give a fate point to. With that out of the way, let's go back to the party. Who is doing what? as they see this Lugus leading a raucous drinking song.
Smiling and shaking my head in their direction.
I'm going to get up.
All right. Anybody doing anything in particular besides Luke?
I'm going to grab his arm and set him down.
Hey. Hold on, I got this.
Does he seem upset or does he seem mildly amused? Because you look mildly amused.
Luke looks mildly amused.
All right, let him go.
Okay.
The singing continues as Luke starts to make his way across the room. As Luke's eyes are wont to do, they find the curves of a buxom lady. It's another Lugus. You all distinctly, or rather faintly, remember hearing that recently House Lugus married a Clegane, the famous mountains of the Westerlands, and that the matriarch of House Lugus is a Clegane. And you believe it, looking at the size of the big burly singer man, and also looking at the size of the woman that is near him. She is singing along not as raucously, but she is broad of hip and shoulder, and everything about her is large.
Don't try to climb those mountains, buddy.
He really wants to.
Yeah, she is also tall, also dark, kind of classic Stormlander, dark, kind of ruddy skin, dark hair, etc., etc. So you also notice her making your way across the room because she's next to him. All right, so back to Luke. What do we got? Crossing the green tree.
As I approach the group, I'm going to kind of glare at them and clear my throat loudly so they get their attention.
The song does not falter.
I approach closely and I kind of grin and I raise a wineskin and I'm going to join.
The song still does not falter. They let you join in, seemingly without irony or overt amusement, just finishing the song. It wraps up with stuff along the lines of, the Dornishman took my life, but I tasted the Dornishman's wife. Is
what does it matter for all must die? I've tasted the Dornishman's wife. I raise my wine skin up and kind of laugh at everybody.
Dornish women are worth dying for.
They roar out the finish of the song, and the burly Lugus almost takes you off your feet with a clap on the shoulder. You don't think it's meant as a melee attack, but you think he's...
He didn't roll any dice.
Yeah, he's drunk enough that it was still probably harder than he meant it to be. But yeah, everyone roars out the last little bits, and he toasts your toast, doesn't comment on your complexion or fine features or black hair or anything.
As I laugh, I turn around and look at the rest of my family, and I'm just going to raise my wineskin and yell, "Welcome to King's Landing."
Gods help us all.
Gods, all the gods.
I'll raise my tankard.
He gets a roar of assent from him. Welcome to the capital, friends. Here for the tourney. Wine, wenches, and walloping. What's
There's
not
a melee.
to know? That was the walloping. It was a very swingy walloping, not a couched lance walloping.
It's all walloping.
Yeah, just...
Walloping.
The family wallop. House wallop.
Oh, God. I'll let Luke be friendly with them because I'm not great at being friendly with people who are crass.
He gives you an up and down, Luke, and he goes, "What? Seem to have lost your colors, lad. Who are you with?"
Who can tell anymore, right? But I think I'm with this lot over here. I go to point to the rest of the group.
He peers, I don't want to say like not piggish eyes, because that's a little more negative connotation, but he's definitely having to like squint past bushy eyebrows. Everything about the guy is big and bold, and he's a little bleary-eyed right now. So he has to squint past you to look, and he goes, "Oh, you're those dragons from Dorne, huh? Oh, well, safe travels to you through the Stormlands." Doesn't seem to be bad cheer about it.
I'll grin and kind of nod.
Give him a regal nod from across the room.
I basically just kind of, let everybody else do stuff.
Sir Nathan Lugas at your service, friend. Can I buy you lot around, or are you afraid to drink something besides that grape water the daughters so favor?
We fear nothing.
Sir, I believe you have insulted my honor. I will drink anything you put in front of me.
Brewer! Brew a thing!
Horse piss it is.
That's a dangerous thing to say.
So for you all, this is weird, but this is like Tuesday for Luke.
Oh, yay.
Tuesday for Luke, premiering Wednesdays on Shadowcasters Network.
I forgot our brother, the Stopouts.
So, he just shouts, "Brewer, brew us something," and everybody cheers because they think maybe he's buying another round for everyone, and because anytime somebody buys a round for anyone, you cheer because you hope it'll be you. So the crowd kind of roars. Not the serious dark corner in the back, but also not another serious character that you can now notice because they're not laughing and cheering and stuff. And that's kind of weird, because this one that's not overtly laughing and cheering and toasting is also wearing the Lugas colors. And they tend to be the laughing, cheering, boisterous sort. This one reminds you a little bit of an overgrown Adam. He's actually a little slender, a little slope-shouldered, and he's sitting with a book, trying to kind of squint at it. He's seated underneath one of the lanterns, and he seems to have yoinked a lantern or been given it from the dark, mysterious corner in the back. So he's got a little extra light. He's definitely in the Lugas black and silver with some gold, some green trim. Because remember, it's a chalice studded with emeralds is their thing. So they wear black, silver, and some green. And he's got one of like the little floppy kind of capital hats on, like Link from Legend of Zelda, right? One of those fancy highborn hats. He is not wearing like the padded doublet that is martial wear for a knight. He does have a sword at his belt, but he isn't. His hands are nowhere near it. He doesn't look like he wants his hands particularly near it, and he's actually wearing more of like a courtier's finery with the hose and like the puffy shirt and all that. So there's a third Lugas in the house. It's not acting particularly Lugasian.
I want to talk to him.
Yeah, I'll be completely oblivious of this.
All right, Nathan Lugas, who's the big burly drinker guy who hollered, "Sir Nathan," and blah, blah, blah. He looks to be maybe 10 years older than most of you, generically late 20s. And he's just going to get to drinking, and he'll follow the serving girl over, likely grabbing a handful of her with good cheer as she brings the rest of you your drinks. Adam, you're able to kind of slip away. It's just a couple tables away to the brighter table with the extra lantern, where the narrow Lugas sits and ponders an ancient tome. So, Adam, you are up as you approach the mysterious quiet one.
What are you reading?
He barely glances up. It was The Conquest of Dorne. My father insists that a Lugus should be able to fight. I doubt I ever shall, so perhaps someday I'll be able to lead. And he glances up a little bit more and takes in your colors. How's Nymaryen? Speaking of the Dornish conquest, and just kind of gives a wry little smile.
Well, I hope you won't hold it against me.
Only if you promise not to hold my brother and sister and reputation of my house against me. Most people marvel that we have a book.
Well, I suppose there has to be one in every family, hasn't there? I'm the one in mine as well.
Yes, you don't look likely to be a fighting man. A recent injury?
Yes.
Thank the Seven, they've at least given you an excuse. You're not just a weakling like me. By all means, have a seat instead of standing on it if you'd like. I am Orton. Orton Lugus.
Thank you. I'll take the seat. Adam Nymaryen.
Well met, Adam. My boisterous brother, Nathan, is the heir, and that is our sister, the widow of the Westerlands, Marita. Twice married, twice bereaving.
I see. So, I take it they dragged you here?
I am not unaccustomed to the capital. I am more at home here than I am in the brawling halls of our home estate. But yes, they dragged me to this tavern, this establishment. I prefer my own quarters.
Well,
the lighting is better and the ambience lacking.
Yes, I imagine it's not terribly easy to read with all that going on.
I imagine you may have some experience of the same, trying to read despite your surroundings. You've got a bit of a northern accent.
Yes, I squired for the Master at Arms at White Harbour.
Not an ignoble position, but a chilly one for a Dornishman, wasn't it?
Yes, rather was, but you get used to it. To such extent that going back home was a similar reversal.
I imagine, though it seems it was your brother that lost his shirt to re-acclimatize, not yourself.
Yes, I'm rather not sure he knows where it is.
Mine has lost his trousers before. It could be worse.
Well, perhaps between them they can form an outfit.
I don't know about your brother, but I think mine would need to be a good deal drunker for that sort of mingling.
A little bit.
Friendship gained.
Well, they seem to be getting on well.
Indeed.
We don't need to be in conflict.
By the way, resting hands on the girl's back at this point as he drinks and merriment in the back.
So he will give you a jaunty little toast, Adam. It looks like he's been nursing that drink a long time, like it's half full, and you haven't seen him refill it. But yeah, we will establish that friendship and then be back over to the main table there, where a new round was just delivered. Oris will grab his, and Oris will grab Adam's as Adam slips away. Oris, so he's going to sit there and double fist it. Without the good cheer or the singing, looks like he's drinking for work at the moment. But Oris isn't going to be particularly taking part in this conversation. But you've all got a rowdy, drunken Stormlander and his looming sister, who is almost as tall. They're both on the other side of 6 feet. Not
Very
like
tall.
not like 6'5", 7", the way a lot of George R. R. Martin's characters are. Not like the massive trait like Oris, but big. And she's very tall, broad-shouldered, broad-hipped. Just everything about her is big, including apparently her appetite for ale, because she pointedly finishes hers before grabbing the new one and joining you at the table.
Milady. Have a seat.
I believe I shall, and thank you. And she sits. I am Marita Lucas. You will pardon my harsh attire. I am simultaneously mourning and celebrating a fresh betrothal. Out of character, you guys might remember one of the rumors you heard at the Great Stag, but I know that in real life it's been 2 weeks. This is the Black Widow of the Westerlands. She was married to a Lefford once before, and then married to a Drax who recently passed away, and the rumor that you heard was that she had just been betrothed again to a Northman. So they finally had to travel out of the Westerlands. Her Clegane mother was not able to secure a third Westerland, but she's called the Black Widow of the Westerlands.
She's making the 8.
So yeah, you heard about this Marita Lucas on the road, you recall?
Well, Lady Marita, it's nice to make your acquaintance. I'm Raina of House Nymaryen. This is my sister, Bela.
Hey.
Those are my brothers who have left our table. And this is Van. Sir Van. He is a knight in our service.
Well met to the lot of you. I'm glad you had safe travels to King's Landing. She uses each introduction as an excuse to take a sip, like it's the King's Landing drinking game.
Well, isn't it? I think maybe more congratulations are in order. Apparently you are betrothed again?
Yes. I'm afraid Mother had to range rather far afield this time. My ill luck has earned me an ill reputation. Completely undeservedly, I assure you. But it's Langley Woods. I'm meeting him this week. He's here for the tourney, and then I'm supposed to go home with him north of the neck and past the Twins and all the way to wherever it is in the north. I'll be dying.
That sounds cold.
Such is the nature of a wedding bed.
Yikes. Milady, you seem most unhappy with this development.
I had some say in the Lefford. He was a kind man and wealthy, but older than I might have liked, and apparently even older than I thought. The Drax was not so bad, but for a man with a unicorn as a sigil, you'd think he'd be a better rider. But alas, a hunting accident claimed him, an unlucky tree branch that was more stubborn than his skull. And
that
now,
wasn't what I thought you meant.
and now I'm to be given to the north. But I've got this week, I've got this tourney, I've got all the coin of House Lucas to drink it away with, and I'll hopefully get to watch one of my brothers brings some honor and glory to the house, while the other keeps his nose in a book and his dick likely tucked as a bookmark also. But at least Nathan knows how to have fun, so we'll be enjoying the week while I can.
So Nathan will be on the lists.
Oh, yes, and he's hoping to find a team for the melee as well. We've the Lucas reputation to live up to. Quite right. Brawlers and savages and such. But who gets to have more fun than brawlers and savages?
How many in the melee?
Oh, haven't you heard? The affair's half holy this year. 7 teams of 7, honoring Princess Myrcella by honoring the faithful, etc., etc. There's to be nigh 50 people all hitting another with sticks.
That's a lot of people on the field at once.
Indeed, and if you ask Nathan, he's already bested half of them. It's like he's already taken the shields home to the keep. You'll need to sober up and find a team first, but then I'd wager he's good for several.
Well, that's actually a pretty good endorsement. Do you not carry the sword or whatever?
No, courtesy is a lady's armor. That's why I'm so ill-protected against poor fortune. I've precious little courtesy. Alas, it's my other traits that finds me husbands.
Have you borne any children?
Alas, for all that I've great tracts of land, my fields lie fallow.
Well, I think that's rather their fault.
But not unplowed.
I think your fields look fantastic.
Certainly not unplowed.
I didn't say that in character.
Oh, come on, you did.
She did not mind. So, perhaps this savage Northman named Wood will have what is needed to plant a few seeds.
So this is your first time reading The Young Woods?
This one, she says with a bawdy wink.
Actual children, all of us.
Dear chat, all your wood jokes, now.
I am very mature.
Oh, right.
You can't talk, you're drinking from one hand or the other at any given moment.
Basically.
So go ahead.
I was just going to follow up on her statement about the courtesy thing. We are a Dorner's house. And in the South, we women are also taught to protect and to fight with weapons, not just words.
Well, that would have been nice, but alas, you Dornish folk never properly invaded. You just kept us from doing so. So I'm stuck with the holy customs of the Andals and the First Men, where Orton gets spurs and a sword, and I get sold off like a broodmare. She gestures scornfully at bookish Orton a few tables away.
I can't really argue with that. I wish I could.
We're going to skip ahead to look around as some of the crowd has been shifting and thinning out. As it's getting later, it's sundown. Different people are coming and going, and have been as you guys have been making your new friends. You get a little bit better look at what's going on back in the corner, partially because there's only one person reporting to the dark, mysterious sellsword, and it's an aged hedge knight who takes his payment in a hand that's shaking a little bit. It's not quite possible to tell if it's shaking with age or shaking from thirst, because as he takes a few coins from the dark, mysterious figure, he immediately turns and makes a beeline to the bar and begins ordering spirits, not brewers, ales, and stouts, but harder stuff. And you see the dark, mysterious figure alone for the first time. And holy cats, that's not a dark, mysterious figure at all. That's your motherfucking cousin, Sir Tygor Will, the heir to House Will.
Okay.
Do we like them?
You do. The Wills are your neighbors. Yes, they are your neighbors to the north. The mother of most of the PCs is actually from House Will. He is a cousin that has sparred with the lot of you before. Occasionally, Will patrols have assisted you in chasing down bandits and the like. The Ironwoods to the south and their bannermen, the Danets, you don't like. But the Wills to the north that guard the other end of the Stoneway are a small but very fierce house with an absolutely awful reputation outside of Dorne. Their sigil is a viper biting somebody on the heel on yellow. And now as the crowds have thinned, you can see that he's wearing a padded kind of cloth gambeson in that yellow field. And it's got it's definitely traveling and fighting clothes. It's got that very distinctive spot or spots where it's starting to pick up rings of rust from wearing armor over it. It just happens. It doesn't mean it's ill kept for. It just means it's not brand new. But it's definitely the Will colors, and he's got that viper biting a heel on it, which even if you didn't recognize his face, you know you've got to be the heir to House Will to be a knight flying those colors. But as a few more of the lanterns get lit, because it is getting darker out, sure enough, that's him. He's got the dark skin of a Dornishman. He's fit and trim and lean and still fighting man strong. He's about 5 years older than most of you. Kind of generic mid-late 20s. Short black hair. Not quite short. It is just long enough to pull back in a ponytail to be out of the way. So, not quite shoulder length, but it's just long enough to be out of the way when he needs it. But yeah, that is your fierce cousin Tygor that is back there in his corner counting a few coins and seeing off that hedge knight that he just gave a few coins to.
I'll get up and head over with my glass of ale.
He doesn't finish what he's doing. He's got a couple coins out. He slides 1 copper across the table as he sees a pair of boots arriving, but keeps his finger on it. He goes, I already know that he's in the lists. I already know that he's just staying in some brothel somewhere. Unless you can tell me exactly where he's sleeping or who he's up against, this coin isn't yours. And he just doesn't look up. He just holds the money there with his finger.
I'm not sure what you refer to, cousin, but I'm happy to see you here.
Hey.
May I join you?
And with that, he perks up and he goes, ha, sure, and keep the copper. Apology for the misunderstanding. Will welcomes Nymaryen, as always. There's more of you. When did you lot get into town?
Just this afternoon, actually. You seem to be popular here.
My coin is.
Of course. So,
sorry, go ahead.
So it sounds like keeping track of the participants in the events. I'm also interested in getting to know who else might be, tilting at this event. Maybe to put some coin down myself, or just to size up, the competition, see who I need to put on their backs, so to speak.
The lists only just formally opened up at High Sun today, and they'll run through into tomorrow. But there's a man I'm after that I know is in the lists. If you just arrived, you likely haven't seen him. Last I heard, he was traveling through the Westerlands. It's a hedge knight, Kennedy Shaneen. I don't suppose you've any word? You haven't.
No, I've not.
When Father died those years ago, and Scorpion went missing, it stung our pride. And our pride is nigh all we have in Dorne. That's not true of all of you, but Will is kind of a poorer house. Scorpion is their Valyrian steel longsword.
Oh, wow.
And I've heard that this Dornish hedge knight, Kennedy, travels with a blade that's got a reddish hue. I also hear he's the only hedge knight that's made it into the lists for this tourney in King's Landing, which makes me think there's something about him that's caught someone's eye. So, I'm following up on my latest lead, bankrupting my house trying to get us back on dignity. If we're not feared, we're not anything.
Well, I find it awful that your weapon has gone missing, and if we can be of assistance in some way, you just let me know. I'll be there to help you get that back. That is rightful to your house.
I'll hold you to it, cousin. I see you still bear sunfire.
Of course.
Do you seek glory? And I'm sure you'll bring home glory aplenty yourself.
Thank you.
He glances around for a second and then sweeps the last of his coins back into his he tests it in his hand and sighs and pockets it. I'll join you at your table if you'll have me.
Oh, of course. Yeah, please.
Out of character, I apologize for not doing a Dornish accent. My personal rule of role-playing accents is if it's someone whose blood I've got, I do it. So I default to a lot of generic British type of stuff, and I'll occasionally dabble in some French and German. But I'm not going to go for like the Spanish, Middle Eastern stuff. I personally am uncomfortable role-playing accents that are not mine. So he still has the generic English accent that that I default to for Game of Thrones. But you are all joined at your table by your bold cousin, Sir Tygor. It's Tygor, not like tiger exactly, but similar. He's a knight and heir to the house. His father died 6 or 7 years ago, and when he hasn't been guarding the Stoneway and chasing down bandits and stuff, it's not been terribly uncommon of him to leave any time he hears of a major tourney and kind of travel. Some people say that there's times he's even been like undercover as a hedge knight, just traveling when he can and trying to track down his family's sword. But you are now joined at your table by him. Any fans of Forged in Fire out there in real life, he looks like Will Willis, who's the host of Forged in Fire. So he's Will Willis. The Lord of House Will is called the Will of Will. So the actor is Will Willis playing the Will of Will. Because Will Willis is also a fucking super ninja badass spec ops combat medic guy in real life. So it works on several levels. Does anyone have any other particular plans for the evening of revelry, making new friends, etc., etc.? I don't want us to dwell on every little conversation, but I also know Vannon hasn't spoken up much. What do you got for us, Kevin?
I'm going to take advantage of everybody else's conversations to just listen in I mean, if the tourneys are coming up, people will be talking, and any advantage I can get is a good one.
Because the lists only went open today, and because you guys aren't exactly surrounded by knights in this particular tavern, there isn't a whole lot of gossip to be had. People are at the point where they can enroll, but like the pairings haven't been made public or anything like that because people are still enrolling. You do know, and this is from Chatter with Oris, that the premier tourney knight of the realm will not be in attendance. Oris gloomily shared the story of Woolly Will's injuries. He said, Woolly Will, this is during the ride, Woolly Will got his ass handed to him, but his charger ran into Sir Loris's right through the strands they were using for the joust.
Sir Loris Tyrell?
Yes, it was Sir Loris that whooped Woolly Will's butt. But Sir Loris is looking for a new horse, so he will not be coming. You do hear some other folks in the tavern mention that the Tyrell boy arrived, but you all know that they must mean Sir Garland instead. I know some of you have any modicum of knowledge, and I believe there's a tourney specialty die floating around also. Sir Garland is widely reputed to be about half the knight Sir Loris is with a lance, but 3 or 4 times the knight Sir Loris is with the sword. He's a few years older, a little bit more rugged, and much better on foot than on horse.
So this is before he becomes the first and last boss fight of the original Final Fantasy. Got it. Okay,
so you do hear that the Tyrell Knight has arrived. That's just kind of always news whenever there's a tourney. People talk about the Tyrells. No other particular stuff of note. I know the house does tend to keep an eye out for Ironwoods. And you do hear in passing that somebody saw their portcullis sigil. So yeah, not many Dornishmen, but I did see that gate. So there does sound like there's some Ironwoods in attendance. You don't hear exactly who. Any other particular names that you are listening for?
Nothing in specific, more just tourney rumors. If it's not the right place or the right time, I'll chat up Oris for a while.
You do also have your default radar set up. There is a Blackwood in attendance. And you hear somebody betting a couple coppers with his friend as to whether the Blackwood and the Bracken will seek each other out. And they kind of joke about how much they'd have to bribe the tourney master to arrange such a match. But it does sound like there's a Blackwood in town, which again, it's King's Landing, there's always somebody in town. But here for the tourney, you do hear there's a Blackwood.
I am a hound who has caught a scent. I am Henry Rollins hearing hipsters mock Japanese artists. I am...
So, again, there's not a lot of other information. You're not even really able to make out which Blackwood. It's not uncommon for small folk to mostly not give a fuck, because all the knights are just kind of interchangeable, unless it's, Sir Loris Tyrell or, something like that, yeah.
Celebrity knights.
So you just kind of hear the Blackwood and the Bracken. So it could be any of them. Remember, you've got several brothers. Lord Titos has quite a few sons, so it could be any of them. It could be more than one. This guy doesn't know. It's just, again, you kind of just pick that out of the crowd. For Oris's part, he is not feeling particularly chatty. He will respond with monosyllabic grunts for the most part, unless you're like specifically, Oris, what is your name? Or something that he has to answer with 2 syllables. Like if you're specifically questioning him, he'll answer, But as far as the table itself goes, he is still very much just staying quiet, not really doing much besides drinking.
Then I will keep his cups filled, and I will keep him quiet company. Just the passive camaraderie that he might be lacking.
Okay. So, we've made a couple new friends. We have an unlikely set of a couple new friends because they're Stormlanders and you're Dornish. You're supposed to hate each other, and then hate fuck each other, and then hate each other some more, and then probably somebody ends up dead. That sort of thing.
I'm working on that hate part.
Yeah.
We should invite him to be on our melee team.
Well, we've got 20-25 minutes of show left. That sounds like it
In
might be
Dorne,
public.
we call... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, in Dorne.
Well, in Dorne, I mean, we call hate fucking a storm of spears, so...
Well, that would make sense.
Oh dear.
So,
We have 5 people that I can think of. Wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5. There's the 4 of us, and there's Oris, who are more than likely capable and wanting to participate in the melee. We also...
Right, though.
We have
Pardon?
our cousin.
Yeah, we have Sir Tygor, Lord Tygor.
sir, he's still the heir. For the moment, he has passed over. Well, no, yeah, he's the lord. He's just kind of an absentee lord, trusting in their master at arms and stuff like that. His mother is also fierce.
Do you intend to participate in the melee?
I do, especially if this Shanine is in it. As long as I can end up on a different team. Or on his, I'll be honest. Given the chance, I wouldn't mind stabbing the bastard in the back. But surely, I could be your 6th.
That would be good, because, I mean, it would also be us helping to protect your honor so you don't have to stab him in the back.
It's just a heads night.
But you are not. And I hold your honor in much higher esteem.
You'll not find many north of Will that do.
That is their problem. So, we'll need a 7th.
Sir Nathan, you guys have kind of just taken over like 2 or 3 tables at this point, so that whether the bookish duo liked it or not, you guys have kind of like man-spread over towards them. You took over like the table that was in between the 2, so you've joined up the 3 tables together. Sir Nathan is deep enough in his cups that he doesn't seem to be picking up on the subtle social cues, perhaps because he's a Lugus.
Sir Nathan, I understand you're quite the brawler.
Only every chance I get. Yes.
Do you frequently come out on top of those fights?
He points to his broken nose. You should see the other twat. Give him what for. Every time.
Well, are you forming a team for the melee?
If I have misplaced them. Perhaps in the bottom of my cup. I shall check.
Sounds
Well,
like a good time for an
Well,
unlikely
it's also a team,
alliance.
that's excellent. But, should you choose, you could join and throw in with the Wyverns.
The silver chalice, surrounded by every dragon of Dorne, and a will to boot. Father's not here. He would hate it.
I actually do smile at that.
Orton! He bellows, even though his brother is like 2 seats away. Adam is close enough that you can see Orton kind of roll his eyes. He goes, "Yes, Nathan, I can hear you, whether I wish to or not." He goes, "Orton! Don't rat me out to father, you little weasel fuck. I'm gonna fight for Dorne."
For Dorne!
I love it.
So, yeah, it looks like he's in.
Wow.
Wow! Making friends.
Drinky McDrink Brawl Pants has joined the party.
Let's hope we don't come to regret it.
There's plenty to regret.
Yeah. So, let's go with back to Adam, as his conversational partner has been, however reluctantly, hijacked by his burly, brew-fed brother. You've got a moment alone with Oris, who is also not actively taking part in any melee planning and is just a table away. So if you were wanting to chat with him, you said.
Yeah, just kind of a quick thing, really, just kind of slip over to him. And Oris, my grandfather gave me a small amount of money to give you, so that you could get some clothes and such for during the tournament. I have that for you as and when you want it, and if you wanted some accompaniment or pointers on what kind of things would be appropriate, I would be happy to help with that.
He is sitting the way you've noticed Oris often does. It's the same kind of hunched over that he used when it was drizzling. And when he's driving the wagon, he kind of reflexively bends over forward a little bit and slumps his shoulders and stuff, either to brood at point-blank range or out of a habit of just trying to look smaller so that less people pick a fight with him. But it also kind of looks to him, or looks to you with your pretty high awareness score, which empathy is a specialty of. He just kind of looks sad, right? Like he's really having some trouble dealing with the identity bomb that has been dropped on him this week. But he perks up a little bit and kind of lifts his shaggy, black-haired head. He goes, You're kinder than most castle folk, Adam. I'm glad that fucking pony didn't take that out of you when it took so much else.
Oh, that's kind of you to say, Oris, but honestly, you're... Well, I know we haven't ever been terribly close, and it's been a number of years since we actually saw each other, but I do consider you a friend.
He lets out a gusty sigh at that, which his sighs are pretty gusty. He just holds out one massive hand for the coin. Give me some of it for now, and then maybe tomorrow you and I can go shopping, and I'll dress up like a proper castle squire so I don't shame you lot.
I'd like that very much. And of course you can drink and bet some of it if you want.
I don't know about the wagering, but I'm sure I'll drink some. We'll need to get me dressed early if I'm to put you lot in the lists. I'll need to look like I serve House Nymaryen. So we'll have to do it pretty early tomorrow. But I'll take care of you.
Well, let's not overdo it tonight then.
He gives a shrug. He gives a a mountainous earthquakey shrug and that and just kind of mopily goes back to his drink. But he does pocket the few coins you choose to give him.
Right.
It's your call. So that handles that.
Okay.
And then I think Adam also has some homework.
Yeah, well, I mean, before kind of doing the homework itself, I was definitely going to make use of nobody paying attention to me to have a look at any of the documents in that satchel that aren't sealed, because I am a nosy bastard.
They are all sealed. Yeah, they've got the trifold shut, and then the waxen seal of House Nymaryen on them. You can make out who they are to, however. There is a document for a Tobo Mott, Street of Steel, is what is scrawled on the top of it. There's one that is the Greenleaf Villa, and then the name of another street. Only major streets in King's Landing have been given names in the books, but there's clearly more than like 5 streets. You know that if it's a villa like that, it's going to be over on the fancier side of town, where nobles stay that aren't in the Red Keep. But it's Greenleaf Villa, and no other notation on it. There is one that is to... Shit, I just forgot the name of your knight, Lucaris.
Your knight, what's his name?
Okay.
I forgot his first name.
What was the name of the guy who you were squiring for?
Master at Arms of the Red Keep. I cannot remember his first name.
Santigar, I don't recall his first name.
Aaron Santigar, there it is. I was like, I remembered the Santigar, I forgot the Aaron. But yeah, there's one to Sir Aaron Santigar, the Red Keep. You suspect it's some sort of thanks or something similar. There is one to it's the name of a sailing ship that you know has visited your coastlands before. It's the Merry Gentleman, and it's to Captain of Merry Gentleman. So it's going to be delivered somewhere at the docks. Luke is supposed to deliver them. He knows the city better. But you know that there are times that the Merry Gentleman has delivered loads of wine for you, for the house, I should say, and that sort of thing. Because it's a merchant ship, the captain often isn't the owner. It's the captain is just kind of the one running the ship on behalf of the owners. But it's a note, to the Merry Gentleman down by the docks. So yeah, you can see who they are to,
Okay.
but they are all sealed.
Fair enough. Right. Well, because Luke is getting drunk, I'm probably going to wait until the morning to give him them.
Probably a good call.
Because if he can lose his shirt, I'm not really going to risk him losing important. Sorry, Luke.
That's a very grown-up decision.
I know where my shirt is. It's somewhere.
Exactly. But yeah, once we're kind of back together, I guess I'll kind of get everyone's attention in whatever way I can.
It is very easy for the slightest of cues to send the roiling mass of drunken Lugai elsewhere in the green tree, and a polite request after that.
Yes.
Your cousin will go, perhaps it's time for some closer family business than your cousins to the north, and he will pick up on the social cue and excuse himself. So yeah, it's easy enough for the lot of you to get together and have a bit of privacy.
Great.
Literally just indicate across the room to him. Look, tits. Ugh!
Where?
You would lose Lucaris also. Yeah, I can't do that.
No. So, grandfather has given me some money for expenses, and for each of us. I don't know if you want it now, or if you would like to just come to me when you need something. I'll certainly be taking care of the expenses. Just whatever we need, I'll make sure that we get it. But he gave me some personal funds to give to each of you. He mentioned that Raina and Bella, that you might want to get some new outfits, and that we all might want to use it for betting or drinking or whatever we want, really, because he didn't want it said that by anyone here that we were poor and thus unworthy. So,
All right then.
So I'll do basically the exact same thing that he did and put them in stacks. So there's 10 dragons each for Raina and Bela, 8 for Luke, 8 for me, and 4 for Vannon.
Wow. I want you to hold on to mine. And yes.
Absolutely.
I think I'll
I
take half.
I didn't want any of you to think that I was withholding things from you. So if anyone who wants all of their money can have all of their money, if or part of it, I will hold on to anything that you want me to hold on to.
I'll take 75% of my coinage.
You shall have
very
it. Then.
specific.
So how much was that again?
Wife would see guess
That would be three
coin?
dragons.
Sorry, how many?
That would mean that you've asked for 3 dragons.
That's a lot of money.
That'll do.
A lot of money.
We're buying armor.
That's a very good use of it.
True.
Cool.
Go ahead, Bella.
Did you say you wanted all of your money?
I think I'll take half for now.
Right?
Yeah.
Luke?
Huh? He looks up.
Have you need
There
of
we go.
coin?
You want money, Luke.
Maybe we'll try to get in the morning.
Well, that in the morning. Look, I do have a question. Do you intend to ride in the lists?
The list. I intend to win them.
Excellent. What does he wear? Does he have armor on? Do you have armor on?
He wears
No,
more than
Luke
this.
is currently wearing pants, and that's it, and a belt with a
Excellent. Right. Okay.
A naked knight.
So, hang on to that for now. Adam.
Yes.
No. Hands out.
Well,
I will be taking my coin.
all right, all of it. Are you
Uh,
sure?
The heir did say Adam should hold on to it.
Do you intend to deprive me of my coin, sister?
I mean, I don't.
No,
get
not all of it.
this.
It's all yours, but I want Adam to hang on to it at least until the morning.
Well, I actually, look, there are other things that we should discuss in the morning anyway when you're a bit more sober.
I don't know, sober as they come right now. He stumbles to the table.
You're shirtless and legless.
Both.
I have other shirts.
I'm sure you do, brother, and they commend you well.
Lord Adam, for what it's worth, I trust you to invest what's mine that you hold wisely.
Oh, you want me to invest it?
If you're willing.
Wager
I am. I'm just surprised. Is all. I will certainly do my best to make it multiply for you.
I'm not pleased with this turn of events, but if this is what one has to do to convince you that those of us in King's Landing know what they're doing, then fine. He throws a hand in the air and kind of wanders off.
Oris will speak up. Speaking of the morning, who am I signing up for the lists and who am I signing up for the melee?
The last one can choose only one.
Both.
No.
You can choose both.
You could choose either or both, but I need to know who to enter.
Then both for me.
Indeed.
Luke yells, "Both!" as he walks off.
Mm-hmm.
I will be participating in the melee. But I do not joust.
And the races and the archery? He lifts a brow and glances around.
Oh, I'd like to be put forward for the archery.
Excellent.
I'll give a hand at anything. Sign me up for all, if there's time.
I'll speak with the master of the lists. Young Adam, perhaps a word outside?
Certainly. What's on your mind, Doris?
Those two are going to step outside for a second. The rest of you, there is still a decision to be made as to who is sleeping here at the inn versus if anybody wants to go back to the pavilion. It was made clear earlier, Oris is going to be staying at the pavilion. Squires tend to stay there, where they look after stuff and where people can leave messages with the squire, yada yada. But Oris is also going to be doing some running around, like putting you on the lists and stuff. So if anybody wants to, remember that you guys have 2 Castle Forged level pavilion tents that can be kind of joined together for like a hall almost, or left separate. So there's kind of a boys' tent and a girls' tent that can be joined together for a Nymaryen tent. So yeah, exactly.
Party!
So there is plenty of room for anybody that wants to stay down there. Just figure out for yourselves, for your character. No one's getting attacked by assassins this first night in city, so it doesn't matter much tonight. Just figure out for yourself where you want to stay, and for the most part, we'll be picking up the next day with some errands to run and some shopping trips. But real quick, before that, Oris, the biggest, and young Adam, the youngest, will step outside, and then Oris will look uncharacteristically Adam-ish and kind of sheepish. He actually doesn't quite look you in the eye, but he goes, "Sir Will never let me come to King's Landing because he said it was too dangerous and someone might know me or my mother. And Sir Will never let me ride in the Squire's Joust because he said it was too dangerous and someone might know me. But Sir Will isn't here, and we're already being dangerous, and no one's going to pay any attention to me with you lot, and I just thought that perhaps if I might have coin for armor, I swear, by the 7, I would pay House Nymaryen back and a share of my winnings as well. I hold my own against Sir Will, and even against this jumped-up Knight of Flowers. I swear to you, Sir Will only loses because champions draw too much attention. I am
Before he's even finished, I've put a coin down.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were finished speaking there.
He goes, I swear, I'm on par with Sir Will. And he kind of looks, we'll say it stayed inside so everyone can take part instead of the master of coin. What coin do you put down, Kevin?
Oh, a crown.
A gold dragon?
A gold dragon.
Okay, so that is a not insubstantial sum. The minimum for tilting is a little more than that.
No.
But you guys do also have a letter to the best armor in King's Landing that you haven't read yet. So who knows what's going to be in that. But who else responds? We'll start with Adam, who's the house master of coin at present.
Right, so is he asking for our permission to compete, or is he asking for us to wager on him?
He's asking for a small business loan.
He is asking for your permission and also the money for armor.
Right. Well, the way he's looking and speaking right now, Adam just looks on him, and in that moment, Adam would do anything for him.
Oh.
He's just so sweet and vulnerable, and or yes, absolutely.
We as a house be pleased to sponsor you.
He sits up a little straighter, and now, as a house, you have a few extra chores to run tomorrow. Oris will be adding those wanted into the lists. You've all got some letters to deliver, the contents of which you do not know. Oris can deliver some of them that have, simple enough addresses, because that's largely squire work. But we'll divvy up the chores in 2 weeks. The house will go shopping with their newfound wealth in 2 weeks. And before that 2 weeks is up, let's remember that the house has this wealth because last episode's reigning champion who had seized the throne gave it to them. We still have Lock the Decker as the man, woman, or Decker sitting the Iron Throne. So, Lock the Decker, you are king or queen of the Andals and the First Men and the Roynar, protector of the realm, yada, yada, yada. Lock the Decker, make sure you talk to me before 2 weeks from now. Hit me up on Facebook or chat at me right here. Let me know what noble house you want to grant a boon to. Any house in Westeros. Could be PCs, NPCs, your favorite from the show, you name it. And everyone else, we will see you in 2 weeks when dice will roll and blood will flow. Today was just getting introduced to King's Landing. 2 weeks from now, the poop will start to hit the fan, and things will not end quite so happily, I wager. So, we'll see everybody in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.